Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly. Eric, I sent you something via Instagram earlier today, and that had been sent to me from Danny Williford, and it was the most gruesome little clip from a movie from last year or the year before called Little Necro Red.
What?
Have either of you heard of this?
No.
Well, I hadn't either, but there's so much skull crushing and jaw ripping off and all of this stuff, and it's so over the top that you can only laugh.
Yes.
And it's like 3 minutes long, this fight scene. And I literally responded to Danny, good heavens.
Yeah, I'd
Then
say
forwarded it on to Eric.
if there's any chance anybody's seen the short film Brutal Relax or Fist of Jesus,
Yes.
that completely reminded me of something those guys would do.
Yeah.
So if you liked either of those, or if you like, Danny, if you like that one a lot, go check those two shorts. I guarantee you will like both of them. Jesus throwing his fishes around to kill people.
Oh my
is,
God.
Yeah.
worth the price of admission alone.
Yeah, that
Okay,
one
the
is
Catholic
pretty
in me
great.
is very excited.
And yeah, Brutal Relax the same way with this guy who goes on vacation and these swamp men,
Yeah.
deep ones basically come out of the ocean and attack, and he's sitting on the beach and everything and decides to just kill them all.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it is so ridiculously gory and over the top in the various ways he's killing them. It's just so much fun.
Yes. Spanish, I believe.
Yeah.
Of course
Check
it
out.
is.
Yeah.
After the last few weeks, I feel like I can't trust Spanish content anymore.
Oh man, Spanish horror films have been so much fun for so long. So underrated.
Completely. I feel like there was this veil that's being lifted.
Well, they've got like a really cool film collective down there where, you know, you can apply for a grant and get this money and then make this incredibly gory horror film that the state has paid for. And it's
I'm
just like,
so
look at all of this
jealous.
talent.
Yeah.
Why can't we? We're America. We have so much. Just a little. Why can't we do it?
Art is not that important to us.
That's right.
I guess
And you might
not.
end up with a bullwhip in your butt.
Wait.
Or there's a deep pull that
Whoa.
Maplethorpe people actually know what I'm talking about there. That time frame.
Jesus.
I saw a movie, you guys, and I liked it.
Okay.
It's charming and gory and weird, and it is called Benny Loves You.
Huh.
And it's about a guy who has grown up and decides he actually needs to grow up and throws out all of his childhood stuff. And one of the things he throws out, they call it a teddy bear, but it's just this kind of pink stuffed doll, but Benny. And tossing it out activates Benny, and he comes back for revenge.
Oh my God.
And he's kind of adorable. And he kind of hops around like a stuffed animal, and he's got all these sayings like, Benny loves you.
Oh my gosh.
and then he'll go and kill a bunch of people and look at the camera and go, ta-da!
Oh my God.
and I was laughing so hard. The effects are surprisingly good for this kind of weird puppet movie. And it's out of Britain. And it is available now as a rental. So
Wow. That sounds absolutely incredible.
it's so much fun.
I've seen a movie, and it's kind of the movie that I've seen a couple of times this week. So I didn't get a lot of chances of watching other content because this movie took up so much of my time.
You rewatch Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like every night. I just got to really relish in it. The Paper Tigers finally came to theaters. So
neat.
yeah, so that was
So
a
it's
movie I
in
worked
full
on.
release?
It is. It's officially, you're available to get it on VOD. You can go to
cool.
theaters. Cinemark is hosting it across the country. So it's in 70 theaters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you I thought I saw you post something about you went to some kind of a screening.
Yeah, it was like a cast and crew screening, but because of lockdown and all these different kind of rules that are going back and forth for Washington State, I got my invite to go to a like fully dressed up nice event 2 days from the date it was sent to me. And I responded with, if I show up and I'm not wearing pajamas and covered in Cheeto dust, then I'm dressed up. So I did arrive in jeans. I did try to look a little bit okay, but it was very much like, okay, I guess I'm going to the movie theater for the first time in a year and a half. And I did.
Wow. That by itself is exciting.
That by itself was a weird experience. And I already had tickets for the next day to bring my mom and my sister to go see it. Just as a kind of,
cool.
Hey, this is the movie. My name's in the credits.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And I will say, so the cast and crew / backers screening was really cool, but it was also a little weird because they didn't have the organization that they have for their normal screenings. So like a woman came and sat literally next to me. And I was like, wait a minute, we're not supposed to do this. But it's like this huge, like amazing Asian film. So a lot of the people in the audience weren't necessarily good English speakers. So I didn't want to like confront this woman and be like, excuse me, ma'am, could you please go away? Even though you probably paid for part of this film. So I just kind of sucked it up and was like, well, I'm vaccinated. It's okay. And just breathed in the opposite direction. You know, tried to only sip from my soda when I was looking away from her. But it was a really cool experience. It was weird. And the second one I would say is better because we had our seats that were specifically assigned and they're sort of in these diamond shapes. So no one's behind you as well as no one's to the sides of you. So you're really pretty like on your own. And then before the movie played, there were like 7 trailers because all the stuff that was supposed to come out right before COVID struck is now like, oh, okay, I guess we can do this because movie theaters are kind of opening up in more places. So there was a lot of previews I'd seen like almost 2 years ago being played again.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That sounds like a good experience for you.
It was great. It was great to see it. It was great to see it in its final form with color and of all the music. That was the things I hadn't seen for it. So I was like, oh my God, we got some really good music tracks on here and it really helped like it sing and it was better than I remembered it. And I remembered it being good. So
it's been getting good reviews.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yes, it has. A lot of people are very positive about it. And it is like, it's a great lockdown film because it's a family friendly film and it's really just a nice movie. It's just a nice movie with great action.
I'm glad I went first. Eric, what movie did you work on that you saw in the theaters this weekend?
I had a dream where not a damn thing. So I'm just going to go back to, boring shit that I just watched.
Did you watch Paper Tigers? No.
No, not yet. I thought it was previewing. I didn't realize it was fully available.
No,
but,
officially as of only Friday. So you're good.
No, you remember last year I fell down that weird rabbit's hole of the Severin box set of Al Adamson movies.
Yes.
So I finished that. I watched all 30 some odd of his films
Good Lord.
a little while ago.
That's a commitment.
The number one watched director I have now on Letterboxd
Oh my God.
is Al frigging Adamson.
Wow.
But so Severin did another one. The Dungeon of Andy Milligan. Are you familiar with Andy Milligan?
No.
Stephen King described one of his films called The Ghastly Ones, which is the only one I'd heard of,
I have heard of that.
as morons with cameras.
Oh no. Eric, what? Did you run out of all the other movies ever made? Like, what's going on?
It's so fascinating to watch these oddly talented and interesting directors.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Al had some really fun movies. He had some horrible crap, too, especially when he tried to go family. Oh, my God, those were so disturbing. The weird scene of the lady looking like she's masturbating a monkey when she's scratching his stomach, but it is shot so poorly. It did not look good.
Oh, no.
But no, this one, I watched 2 of his films called The Ghastly Ones and Nightbirds. Ghastly Ones, I think it was 69, and Nightbirds is like 70 or 71. And The Ghastly Ones is sort of like a little bit more competent Herschel Gordon Lewis. But the gore and stuff is kind of over the top. It's ridiculously dramatic. It's got weird shot angles because he did all his own camera work. He did almost everything on the movie. I went, okay, this is weird trash Z-grade filmmaking, and they're watching Nightbirds. I'm like, what the? It's like he watched I Am Curious Yellow and decided he's going to make his French masterpiece. The entire movie is black and white. It's basically two people who are having a relationship, trying to figure out how to live their lives together. And I'm watching this whole thing going, is somebody going to like pull out an eyeball soon or something weird going to happen? But no, it never did. The whole thing was just this fairly competently made French New Wave style movie.
What the heck?
So now I'm really fascinated to see where this guy's stuff goes. And it, being Severin, everything looks fantastic. It's full of these crazy extras. And it's fun to find weird shit that you have no knowledge of. And apparently, surprise, surprise, I dropped a note to Tony K about this going, oh, I love Andy Mulligan. He is fantastic. I just got my box set today too. Yeah, of course.
He's like, oh, but have you seen these weird, rare ones that you can only get in bootleg in Korea?
But no, he did something close to that though. He's like, yeah, he's got probably one of the best biographies ever read of a filmmaker. If you can find it, you should pick it up. And it's this limited edition thing that came out a couple of years ago that since the set came out, now it's selling for hundreds of dollars. I don't think I'll be picking that up.
The PDF.
So yeah, so that's one of the things I watched this week.
That's cool. Well, I watched a brand new film on Shudder, thanks to our friend Craig Mullins, because he had listened to an episode where I had said that my taste had now gone towards the weird. Mm-hmm. And I get a text from him, and he's like, yeah, I think I've got a movie for you. And it is called Fried Berry. It's new on Shudder this last weekend, and it is Barry, Barry. It is about this kind of assholey drug addict.
When I was setting up the mics, I said, I started to watch this one film, then realized I really wasn't in the mood for a subtitled movie. That was it.
Oh, so I
think that was it.
It's only subtitled
Shudder?
in parts because it's shot in South Africa. So it's English with then a little bit of African, like they would just normally do. Yeah. And so they subtitle those parts for you.
Oh, that's cool.
This is a movie that I can't quite figure out if I liked or not. I mean, I watched the whole thing with my mouth just kind of hanging open. This guy is very creepy looking anyway, and he's a drug addict, and he's an asshole, and he's abusive to his wife and all this stuff. And as he's walking down the street one night, he gets abducted by aliens and then dropped back down, and he is wandering now the big city with an alien controlling him. And the alien is clearly just, it says in the description of the film that an alien is basically taking his body for a joyride through the city.
My God.
And that's exactly how it feels, because he goes into a club, takes a bunch of pills that get offered to him, and then he's dancing on the floor with people, and he's learning phrases that he has no idea what they mean, so he says them at very inappropriate times.
Oh my God.
And I just sat there going, wow, this is such a bizarre movie. It really is a weird movie, but some of the camera effects are so gorgeous. It's just like, God damn, whoever this guy is, I can't wait to see his next film.
Wow.
I should never, I almost never skip a movie because it's subtitled, but I was working on notes for this show.
Oh.
Yep.
So I need to be able to look up and down. Well, I'm not doing that shit again. Damn it. I wish
Yeah.
I have got to
well,
go back
and
and
I will say
that.
this is clearly not a movie for everyone. So I wonder what you would think of it. I wonder what you would think of it, Vanessa. I wonder what everybody would think of it, because I have a feeling it's going to be polarizing, I believe is the word. Because some of the acting is bad.
Sure.
And some of the effects are bad. And then the next thing you see is this just gorgeous shot that you're like, wow, that effect did not belong in this movie, or maybe this amazing shot doesn't belong in this movie, but these two things do not belong right next to each other.
That's sort of the good, bad of indie filmmaking right now, or low to mid budget. You could kind of used to be able to get away with things looking sort of off.
Yeah.
Maybe not the highest quality. Oh, it was shot in 16, not 35. Oh, okay. But fuck, man, you can shoot 4K with cameras now. So, or with your phones now. So you need to, if you're not shooting a red or something, you might be in trouble, or be able to fake it well enough to make it look that good.
Yeah, not only that, but if you want it to look like 35 millimeter, you can certainly shoot it on your phone and then apply that
filter
to it, and all of a sudden it's just like, wow.
Yeah, they work.
And some of those filters are pretty damn impressive.
They've gotten really good, because for a while it was like the same set of filters, and it was like really obvious. When there's like scratch marks or VHS, I usually know exactly what pack they're using. I'm like, oh, I've used those.
Sure.
But yeah, no, now at this point, like they look really naturalistic.
It's like, boy, I seen that hair get caught in that film gate at every movie.
I know exactly that clip. I know the one with the weird hair that's like kind of gross. And I'm like, that's too much. You should have had less hair.
Yes. I do like that those things are now much more controllable. You can say, well, I want big bits of dirt.
Yeah.
Like I was working on a video for the Dina's family had a whole bunch of their 8 millimeters and stuff digitized. So I was putting together a little video, and I did a wipe out the dust, because on the other side of this, when you get the old things that kind of look like crap, you want to make them look better.
Sure.
And I went back, I watched it, go, where the hell did his arm go? And her brother arm had just totally disappeared. So I turned off the dirt thing. Oh, there it is. It was just they thought the watch, the computer thought his watch was the dirt.
How funny.
Yeah, it's getting there, but yeah, it is funny. We're still in this kind of weird area where it's not quite 100%. So computers often will mistake certain things, like that exact example. And it's like, no, I wanted that.
Put the dirt back.
All right, crazy tangent. That was fried berry.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, I went ahead and dove into the thing that everybody is watching and what you guys have talked about already. But I started watching Invincible.
That's one I was going to guess.
Yep. Yeah. So I haven't read the comic, and I decided to go ahead and just watch this and then read the comic after. I kept debating which way to go. And finally I gave in to peer pressure. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I think there's things that work about it and things that really don't work about it. They have this thing they keep doing where they cut people off mid-sentence near the start and then go into the title splash. And I think it is not working, and they should stop, because they're trying to do something that I've seen. I think it's ripped from Venture Brothers or somewhere else, and it's just not used in the right way. And I'm like, you guys are this is stupid. Oh. But
it's one of the few things I didn't mind about it.
Yeah, I thought that was all right.
It is stylistic, which is nice. I don't know, like there's certain things that I'm digging about it. I'm a little confused as to why it ends, and then they keep having segments that keep going. That's a little confusing to me.
You'll have to explain that to me.
Yeah, each time the episode will end, and then I think they have like credits even, and then there will be like a huge long. The first episode, it was like 25 or 30 more minutes of content.
Well, I might have missed that then. You're talking like a after credit scene. I did see that on a couple episodes.
Yeah, but they're like long, like really long, like not just like they go on. So that's been a little strange. But first episode, I'm sure that the turn is probably done differently. I'm guessing in the comics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that was like really exciting to me, and I think that's brought a lot of tension through the rest of the series. But yeah.
I was relatively forgiving of that by the end of the first season, if you watched all of them yet.
Yeah.
Because I felt they brought enough of that back with the way they ended the last episode. I'm like, okay, because you probably didn't see, I won't say, but it probably didn't see what was coming unless you'd read the comic.
Right.
But
yeah, I'm only through the Mars episode.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm curious to see where they go. I'll definitely continue watching. That last episode helped a lot. I really thought it's like, okay.
And did you see that it has been renewed for 2 seasons, for 2 more seasons? So
nice.
I thought that was neat.
Yeah, because this is only there's a lot. There's a lot if they keep going. It goes for a long time.
I was pretty enthused that Robert Kirkman seems to be pretty involved as well, because he had writing credits on the first few episodes at least. So.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So I think I mean anytime the original creator gets back on board, I'm usually like, okay, like I'll buy a ticket to this. Like,
sure.
Yeah. The only things I would have changed, I mean, because if you look at IMDb and stuff, the reviews for this film or the show are really high.
Yeah, people love it.
Is for me, I would have rather that scene where he kills all the The Guardians, I would rather that been, but they make up for it with the last episode.
I agree.
And I still wish the cartoon looked a little less Hanna-Barbera Saturday morning.
Sure.
Yeah, it has a very
I can see
generic
that.
animated look to it,
Yeah.
But-
except for all the blood and eyeballs.
Yeah. I was
How's
like,
that?
yeah, the end of that first episode, I was not expecting, and I was agape. I was very much agape and just going, like nonstop, because I was just like, oh my God, make it stop. This is,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I found another one in one of our favorite, Kelly and my favorite sub-horror genres, the lost film.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The cursed film or whatever. Warning, do not play.
Oh,
It's a South Korean film.
I have heard of this.
And it's worth checking out.
Okay.
It's weird because it starts off and I had the strangest reaction to kind of the beginning where it's got this, what I thought was a very young looking lead. And she's going into studio like she's been making movies for years and stuff. So I looked it up, she's like 30. I'm like, okay. So that's just my misinterpretation of the age of someone. But the whole idea is she found out that there's a movie that showed once at a festival and caused all kinds of problems, but was rumored to have actually been shot by a ghost.
Oh,
The film was made by a ghost.
That's an interesting premise.
And so she goes off to search to figure out what happened. And it works. It's a lot of fun. It fits right into that genre. A lot more violent than most of those. Some of those ones tend to be. But well worth checking out. And
what did you watch that on?
I believe that was Shudder.
Okay, that's going on the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well worth checking out.
Well, cool. Speaking of checking things out, guys, are you guys ready to check out
I
our...
have one more note.
Oh.
You got called out.
Excuse me?
Yes, you got called out on the BoneBat show
Oh,
for
whoa.
The BoneBat show.
for hating on Godzilla and King Kong so much.
I've never... Well,
Yes, thank you. Thank you, BoneBat.
that might bother me, except I have no idea what the BoneBat show is. So.
Oh.
Pretty sure you do. He's been on the show. Well, half of them. Half of the BoneBat show with Steve Holitz has been on the show.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me at all that they loved that movie. That movie was absolutely marketed towards people like that.
What does that mean, sir?
I think we all know what that means.
People who love to see things explode? People who enjoy large action and adventure?
Well, actually, you were probably right with the first one. Yeah,
Yeah.
people who like to see things explode.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I will take that. I will take that label and I will apply it to myself happily.
Yeah.
Except for Transformers.
I'll say this about that movie, and here's what bothered me most, and it took me a little bit of time to figure out why I was bothered. That movie was dumb, and it didn't need to be as dumb as it was. There were things that pulled me out because they were so stupid, and I was like, well, this could have been easily fixed.
Like a podcaster figuring everything out.
Something like that, yes.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so there are movies that come along that are way smarter than they have to be, and I appreciate that. And then there are movies that come along that are way dumber than they should be, and I don't appreciate that. So
That is super fair. That is super fair. And if it wasn't for the fact that there are giant things destroying giant things, I think I would have been more bothered by it. But I just love giant things destroying giant things, so I'm
Sure.
okay with it.
If it'd been a lizard and an actual gorilla.
sure.
I mean, what more? What more?
I'll say this. I did fall in love with Kong because of his expressions. I thought
Oh my
the
God,
Kong
Kong's
CGI
so
was
good.
spectacular.
Yeah.
So
And the underground world, I really enjoyed, even if it didn't make much sense. I did like watching Kong explore and jump around and jump up and down
Tear things apart.
between different levels and fight random things and be happy about it. I was like, oh no, you brought him to a place where he's going to get murdered and he hasn't had a real predator in a long time. Oh no, he's fine. He actually likes this a lot. He's super into this territory. I was very like Team Kong. So did BoneBat point out anything specific, just out of curiosity?
Well, he did like the way King Kong hit Godzilla. So props to you on that one, Steve.
Fair.
okay.
But no, I think it's probably, I can't remember what Gord Sorry, Gord. I can't remember if you really liked it or not. You're probably neutral on it, which is why I don't remember for sure. But Steve sounded like you talking about it, basically.
Yeah.
Vanessa sounded more like what you were saying.
Yeah.
You know what? I love Steve, and I'm totally fine that he has bad taste in film.
Speaking of bad.
Yes, we'll take a little break, and then we're coming back. We're doing our own mini Allan Smithee retrospective.
So exciting.
Barbie's giving a surprise party in her new dream house. The guest of honor is Mattel's exciting new teenage doll. It's Ken's buddy, Allan. Allan is exactly the same size as Ken, so he can wear all Ken's handsome outfits, the way Midge wears Barbie's fabulous clothes. And Allan shares wonderful adventures with Barbie and her friends. Saturdays, he works at the soda fountain along with Ken. And later, Allan and Midge double date with Ken and Barbie. Sometimes, when the weather's nice, they all go skin diving. Or they go on a picnic in the country. You'll love choosing outfits for Allan and Ken to go along with the ones for Barbie and Midge. You can get Mattel's new Allan along with the genuine Barbie, Ken, Midge, and Skipper wherever toys are sold. You can tell they're Mattel. They're swell.
And we're back. So just to remind everybody, Allan Smithee is the name that writers and directors can use.
Directors.
Writers too.
Do they use that? I
Yep.
thought they had a different name.
They do have a different name now, but you will
Okay.
find Allan Smithee as writers too if you look on IMDb. They can do that when they feel that the studio has tampered with the film or taken it away from them to the point that it does not resemble what they started out with, or they feel it doesn't. They actually have to apply for it, and then the guild has to allow it, stuff like that. So generally what that means is when you see an Allan Smithee film, you're seeing usually not very good movie.
That's true.
With that in mind, I chose from 1992, Maniac Cop 3, Badge of Silence.
When the violent
This filthy creep's gonna make us rich.
can't be controlled. When the guilty can't be caught. When the lawless can't be stopped. The only hope left
I saw a symbol in the dirt.
You see the symbol of anti-justice.
is a cop who's ready to raise a little hell.
I need your very special kind of darkness.
From the darkest powers of creation
Want to know about resurrection?
comes a force more powerful than light, more lasting than death.
Nurse!
He has returned
Who's in there?
as judge, jury, and executioner
Oh my God.
I know what I saw.
to enforce the law
Where is he? You'll find him.
with a vengeance. But now, the only way to end the massacre is to destroy
Two tortured souls.
the madness. Finish it. Badge of Silence. The Maniac Cop is back.
Oh my God, I've seen 1 and 2. So
Badge of Silence. What the fuck does that even mean? That's the stupidest fucking thing. I could find no budget. It went straight to HBO, so it had no box office. No critic reviews on Rotten Tomato.
Oh,
But
Jesus.
the audience has it at 16%.
Generous.
It's really something.
Well, it feels about right.
Yeah.
It was directed by Allan Smithee,
Huh. Wow.
Weird.
who, in this case, is William Lustig, who directed from the 80s Vigilante.
Oh, okay.
Most interestingly, though, he directed Maniac Cop and Maniac Cop 2.
What? What?
and took
what?
his name off of the third
Yeah.
one.
Wow.
He's like, you know what? 1 and 2 were pretty polished, but 3,
Written by Larry Cohen,
Oh.
who wrote It's Alive and made It's Alive, Q, The Stuff, and wrote Maniac Cop 1 and 2.
Weird. This sounds like a personal.
Weird,
Did
yeah.
somebody sleep with somebody's wife?
I will get into the reason for the Allan Smithee, and it is interesting. Stars Robert Davi, who you would know from The Goonies, Die Hard, Predator 2, and 159 other films. Robert Zidar, who plays the Maniac Cop, who is a very unusual looking man with a gigantic chin. He's got 121 credits, including Cherry 2000, Tango and Cash, and the Maniac Cop series. Caitlin Delaney, mostly TV stuff. She was on ER, Saving Grace, Castle, and a bunch of other stuff. And then it has a surprising guest starring thing, I guess, in that Jackie Earle Haley is in this. He was Rorschach in Watchmen, and he's the skinny little dude in Breaking Away, one of my very favorite movies of all time. And Robert Forster, who was in Alligator, and just recently, Wolf of Snow Hollow, before he passed.
Oh,
He will be missed. So you guys have seen the Maniac Cop movies. The first one, at least.
I've seen the first one, yes.
vaguely
Bruce Campbell's in that,
remember.
isn't
Bruce Campbell is in 2.
he? Okay, then I've seen the first 2.
Okay. Tom Atkins in the first one.
Mm.
So this is kind of a cool little series, and the first movie is so-so. The second movie is surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And then this movie. So this opens with this voodoo priest who is resurrecting the body of the Maniac Cop. It's actually a pretty cool scene. We see all this weird, spooky shit. It's shot competently, and then the guy comes to life. You know, his rotting hand shoots out of his casket and everything. I was like, fuck yeah! What's wrong with this movie? Let me continue. So the next day, Detective Sean McKinney talks to Officer Kate Sullivan. So Sean is Robert Davi, and Kate is Caitlin Delaney, and they're on a shooting range. I had problems with this, as you know. I am a gun owner. And she's got proper eye and ear protection on, but not him. And he's shooting at nothing blocking his ears or anything.
No, he's got to be manly. It's not manly to wear
it made me,
ear protection.
It made me wonder, is this something that Robert Davi said? No, I'm not wearing ear protection. Or what? But it just jumped out at me because he's standing right next to somebody who is wearing it.
Weird.
It was very strange. Anyhow, she's complaining because she's in trouble with her superiors for using excessive force. She has been dubbed Maniac Kate.
Oh, yeah.
And I did I was kind of like, oh, okay, she's the badass. And I like that. And since it's her birthday, McKinney gives her a wristwatch, and she thanks him and says she loves it. He's one of the few cops who is casually nice to her on a regular basis. That evening, Kate and her partner are called to the scene of a pharmacy robbery where a crazy man is holding a hostage and shoveling handfuls of prescription drugs in his mouth. The crazy guy is Frank. That's Jackie Earle Haley. And her partner is killed by him. And so she runs inside with her rifle and starts shooting shit up and everything, and then finally gets on top of the roof somehow. It comes crashing down, shoots him in the chest, and then the hostage that he was holding, the pharmacist lady, she shoots Kate. Turns out she was in on this and had gotten the guy in because she worked there. So when she shoots Kate, as Kate's going down, she puts a bullet right in this pharmacist's head. And all of this is caught on film, of course, by these kind of low-rent reporters who have been following her around because she's Maniac Kate, and they know there's a story they can get anytime she's out.
Wow.
So, but Kate, when she gets shot, she's shot pretty seriously, and she goes down. McKinney, when he goes to see her, she's in the hospital and she's in a coma.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the undead cop has seen the news report with the footage, which they have made to look like Kate just blew away the pharmacist for no reason. You know, I'm not sure what they get out of it, except for maybe they can call her Maniac Kate a little longer. But somehow, Maniac Cop, he sees this, realizes she's been set up, and he goes looking for vengeance.
Oh my God. Wow.
This is what Maniac Cop does, Vanessa. Do you remember 1 and 2?
I'm pretty sure I was pretty drunk for this. I think I might have even seen this movie.
Oh boy.
It sounds weirdly, vaguely familiar.
So while McKinney is sitting there, holding hands of his friend Kate, and what I like about this relationship is it's just a friendship. There's no romance or anything. She's in a coma, and she is having this weird dream where she is walking down a church aisle to meet the maniac cop who's rotting and standing, waiting for her to be wed to him. And she comes screaming out of the coma. Because in this movie, comas are basically just like bad dreams. And you wake up and everything's cool again.
Somebody shakes you hard enough, you'll come out of it.
Yeah. From here, the movie gets very choppy, and I was having a hard time following it. It's very clear that the maniac cop is killing people, which is what he does.
Sure.
He seems to be going after people who have said bad things about Kate. Which includes a bunch of policemen and stuff like that. So he's killing bad guys, he's killing good guys, he's killing everybody. He's a maniac.
Yeah, sure.
And he's even going after McKinney, Robert Davi, who is, of course, our hero. It all ends up in this kind of weird, bizarre car chase that's halfway decently shot, and there's flames and explosions and shit like that, but I didn't quite understand how they got to that point. And Kate actually gets killed. Davi tries to have her resurrected by the same guy that resurrected the maniac cop, but he's saying that Kate's spirit is fighting him and won't allow itself to come back to the body.
Oh my.
And then in a final fight, her body ends up going up in flames anyway, and I was like, oh, she's dead. She's dying. And but I was really losing interest very quickly. The very end scene is the maniac cop with his burned body because the car he was in exploded, and Kate's burned body on these gurneys in the morgue, and his hand comes to life and reaches over and holds her hand.
Aww. That's really sweet.
So sweet.
If only she liked him back, then it would be less creepy.
I don't know. It kind of felt like they were trying to say they were made for each other since she was Maniac Kate.
Yeah.
And she is a little over the top and everything, which is, I believe, how he was in the first movie too, was a cop that was too hard and then died and came back or something.
It's the 80s. That's kind of what a cop show was at the time. You say it seemed vague. That's because if you've seen any 80s cop movie, that opening segment is slightly twisted version of it.
So one of the things I thought was really interesting as I was watching this, there's a big church, and I'm like, boy, why does that church look so familiar? So I look it up, and sure enough, the church exteriors are the same church used in Prince of Darkness.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a cool, visually stunning looking church. So no wonder I remembered it. Here's what I found out in my notes.
Ooh.
I'm going to guess this first sentence is probably in all of your notes. The film had a troubled production.
Yes.
When director William Lustig's rough cut came in at only 51 minutes.
Oh my God.
He refused to shoot the additional scenes that producers wanted and quit the project. The balance of the picture was directed by co-producer Joel Soisson.
Holy crap.
Prior to Blue Underground's DVD release of the movie in 2013, Lustig was the film's credited director. However, the Blue Underground version is credited to the Directors Guild of America pseudonym Allan Smithee. And here's what was going on. The original script featured a black detective investigating a series of murders in a hospital in Harlem, which none of this is in the movie.
Yeah.
During pre-production, William Lustig began scouting locations and casting actors with a pre-sale to Japan. According to Lustig, the Japanese distributor was holding out as they didn't want a black lead in the movie.
Of course.
They wanted the hero of the second film, played by Robert Davi. Lustig pled against it, but eventually Davi was cast. Suddenly, we had a script that made no sense, said Lustig in a 2019 interview. Larry Cohen refused to rewrite the script unless he was paid for the additional work, but the producers refused to pay him.
Oh, God.
As a result, Lustig had to improvise and cut scenes from the script. We got to a point where we shot all the scenes we could shoot after cutting all the other stuff out of the script, and it came out to be like an hour-long movie. So they had to go out and shoot scenes that were just filler. And that was when Lustig walked away from the film.
Wow.
Oof.
One little bit of trivia here. This entry breaks the series' tradition of having the protagonist killed unexpectedly. In Maniac Cop, Tom Atkins is killed at the end of the second act. And in Maniac Cop 2, Bruce Campbell dies during the first act. In this film, Robert Davi, who is the lead, actually survives. I will say this about this movie. I have seen worse.
Well, okay, sure.
Sure.
I mean, I couldn't quite follow it, but the effects were fine. It looks very 90s, which is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, like the car chase scene looked like it cost some money, and the car chase made sense as a scene. I just couldn't figure out how they got to that point.
Yeah.
And car chase scenes are tough. That requires a lot of money and shit like that. And this one was pulled off nicely. So there's something here. And when I heard what the original story was, I was like, that's much more interesting than what we got.
Yeah. Sounds a lot more Larry Cohen too.
Yes. Maniac Cop 3, you guys, badge of silence.
It shall continue to be silenced.
As I say, the description of the movie did not help the understanding of the tagline either.
No.
Secondary title.
I went ahead and chose probably the most obvious option, just because I was like, every one sounded so bad that I just was like, I'm gonna just watch Hellraiser 4 again.
Centuries ago, a toy maker set out to build the perfect puzzle box. A gift that would bring enchantment to all who possessed it. He never dreamed that this simple toy was the key to the gates of hell.
Oh my God.
Do I look like someone who cares what God thinks?
Now, centuries later, a scientist has unlocked its secret. And the battle for the future of mankind is about to be fought across the boundaries of time. To oblivion. Hellraiser. Bloodline.
See, again, that's the part that got me, man. It's like, again?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. No, I've definitely seen it before because it's definitely not the worst of the Hellraiser movies.
What's this one called again?
Bloodline.
Okay. This
is the one in
Go
space.
ahead and talk about
Yeah,
that.
as I say,
There's a good movie hidden in this.
Yes, there is. Okay. So this was made in 1996. Rotten Tomatoes has the critics at 27% and the audience 37%. So, which, it seems kind of fair, actually. The budget was $4 million and the box office was 9.3. So it was definitely a success.
Wow.
This movie was directed by Allan Smithee, but actually directed by Kevin Yeager, who, this is going to give you a little bit of a hint right off the bat. 2 credits to his name, this, and 2 episodes of Tales from the Crypt. All right, we'll get more into that.
That's all he did?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
thought he was a Bride of Reanimator director or something.
No.
Okay.
So what he was, though, is a makeup and special effects guy. He's done 45 pictures for makeup, 18 for special effects, and you would know him from every episode of Bones, a lot of the Friday the 13th films, Sleepy Hollow. He did the most recent Bill and Ted movie, and he designed the Chucky doll.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So he's a name to be recognized and reckoned with, but not for directing. Additional directing was done by an uncredited Joe Chappelle, who before this had done Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers, and Thieves Quartet. After this, went on to do Phantoms, The Skulls 2, and a lot of TV, including The Wire, CSI Miami, Fringe, and Chicago Fire. So it's weird, but we'll get into it. Written by Peter Atkins, who did Wishmaster 1 through 4 and Hellraiser 2 through 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. He did Hellraiser 2, which is maybe my favorite of the bunch, but he also did 3 and 4.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a quick drop off, man.
Yeah, boy,
4 was the last, and he was done after 4.
He'd had enough.
He was,
say he should have dropped off after 2 because 3 is where it really started to.
I don't think I've seen Hellraiser 3.
It's got the CD killer and
No.
some
Good.
terrible Cenobites, man.
Yeah, I think I've seen an image of the CD killer, but yeah, I've seen 1 and 2 a lot, and this one. Actors, we have Bruce Ramsey as Philippe Le Marchant, or Philip Le Merchant, or Philip Merchant, depending on which part of the bloodline you are in. He's been in 81 things, including Alive, Behind the Candelabra, and Hamlet, the 2011 one. Lots of weird TV shows now. He's Canadian. I think that's why. Valentina Vargas, who plays Angelique, the demon. She's been in 30 things, including The Name of the Rose, The Big Blue, The Tigress, and apparently Dangerous Liaisons, although I didn't see that in her credits. I saw it in her about. She is from Chile, so that's probably part of it. She now does a lot of French and Spanish movies. Doug Bradley revises the role of Pinhead, aka the lead Cenobite, depending on who you talk to and how angry they are about it. He's been in 68 things. He actually had only done 2 short films before the first Hellraiser movie, which I found kind of interesting.
The Clive Barker shorts, weren't they?
Were they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were shorts they did together in college.
Oh, that, you know what? Yes, you were 100% right. I remember hearing that at Crypticon. After that, he did do a couple of things like Nightbreed, but then kind of fell into some smaller roles. Now he actually does a lot of voicing acting, including Star Wars Old Republic video game, Dota Dragon's Blood, JJ Villains Fairy Tales, and plays a lot of doctors and sheriffs. Seeing a lot of doctors and sheriffs in his credits.
Sure.
And then we also have a couple of people that I recognize but don't have as big of roles in this, including Kim Myers, who plays the 90s wife. And I was like, oh, that's not Meryl Streep.
Right.
Yeah.
From
Nightmare
Friday.
on Elm Street too.
There you go.
Yep. I was like, I remember you. And of course, Adam Scott, who is not very young and has been in 119 things. This guy works his ass off. Anyone who doesn't know Adam Scott, you would recognize him from Krampus or Party Down or Parks and Rec. He's currently in Big Little Lies. And he's been acting for a long time. He was in 7 episodes of Party of 5, 4 episodes of Boy Meets World, and his first project was an REM music video. So yeah, he's been trying for a long time. This was not his first movie, but it was one of the first recognizable roles he had. The plot. Okay, I'm going to really gloss through this.
It deserves a little more.
Yeah, you don't need to know a lot of details. We start off in space. The year is 2127. We're on a space station with a guy who looks kind of like the guy in the most recent Blade Runner, Jared Leto. He looks like Jared Leto in monk robes. Bald
Jared
dude.
Leto.
Yeah. Bald dude, just kind of looks like he's doing something. He puts on some weird VR gloves, and then he's controlling a robot, and the robot has the box and the lament configuration, and he's doing the thing. The box opens, and of course, it opens and something appears. Pinhead walks out, bunch of military dudes come onto the on the space station, hold him hostage, and he goes, "No, we only have so much time." And they're like, "You better start talking about why this thing you invented, this space station you built, you kicked everyone off of." And he's like, I must tell you by telling you from the beginning.
Oh boy.
A long time ago.
Didn't you just say we only had so much time?
Correct.
About 80, 90 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
86 minutes of time, sir. We have 86 minutes. Before Pinhead will care. So, so he's like, "Let me tell you why I am who I am and how this spaceship came to be." And so we go back to Victorian times, frilly shirt times. So back in time to
Powdered wigs.
his relative, who is relevant maybe towards the story, a toy maker who made the box. This guy was hired to make a box. He called it his greatest invention. He was really stoked. Got into an argument with his wife about it, who was like, "Oh, is that all it does?" And he's like, honey, this thing is amazing. I'm sick of your face. I'm gonna run it over the guy who paid for it right now, middle of the night, because I'm mad at you about it. So he gets on horseback in a very like Revolutionary War style kind of imagery. Jets his way over to the Count, who is dabbling in black magic, commissioned the box so he can use it as a portal to open hell. He is interested in opening the portal so that he can get a demon to come out and trap it into doing his will. There are 2 rules when it comes to opening up portals and bringing demons out and putting them into prostitutes' bodies. The first thing you should know is you cannot stand in the way of hell, or else the demon has its power back, and otherwise it will do everything you say. So there you have it. He has a prostitute. He's ready to go. Adam Scott is standing by, ready to help him out. Has brought the prostitute there. Box arrives right in time. Middle of the night. The entire area is actually really cool looking, covered in blood and maggots and just disgusting. Very cool. Now, you would think that the merchant would be like, "Cool, here's your box, and there's my money. Bye, see you later." But no, Le Marchant decides to walk around to the side and decide he wants to know what's going to happen to his toy box. And he witnesses the whole dang thing. Now, he's really upset that his favorite thing that he's ever made is being used to raise demons from hell, and he decides to get it back. So he sneaks back in, finds that the Count has been murdered in a very Hellraiser-esque way with like razor wire through his mouth, of course, probably piano wire. It's back in the time. And Adam Scott is banging the demon in the other room, and he goes to reach for the box, and as he tries to reach for it, all of a sudden the demon is there, and Angelique, the beautiful lady demon, is like, "Excuse me, are you trying to touch my box?" And she makes really suggestive comments about his finger work. It's gross. And then, of course, Adam Scott is jelly and is like, "Excuse me, I'm in control of you, lady. You are going to go ahead and murder this guy." And she's like, "But he's so hot." He's not hot, by the way. And so he gets murdered, but for some reason his wife runs in and is like, "No, you're dead. This is awful." And he's like, "I know it. I made a mistake." And then out of nowhere, somebody's like, "By the way, your bloodline's cursed." So,
FYI.
Yep. So now.
Hence the title.
Yep. Skip ahead to the 90s. There's a guy who looks exactly like the previous guy. But his name is Merchant, not Le Marchant. And he's an architect, and he's made this big old building. And this building, of course, for some reason, kind of has some boxy qualities to it, some weird lament things. In fact, he goes to make a speech about this opening night of this building, and he's got pieces of the box behind him as like art hanging down. So you get really good visual clues as to where this is going. He's apparently, the bloodline has dreams and nightmares of this box and the demon and the history behind it. So he has been haunted by this. And of course, in the audience appears Angelique, the demon. And she's like, yo, I'm hot. And he's like, oh my God, I forgot my speech. It's really embarrassing. And he's got a wife and a child, not Meryl Streep. And one of the worst child actors out there. Definitely harrowing to stare at. And as soon as Pinhead takes this kid hostage, you're like, just take him. Just take him away. It's fine. I'm done. I'm done looking at this kid. I don't know why anyone cares. But we go into this 90s segment and it really stops making sense very quickly. For some reason, Pinhead wants Angelique to go to hell. Back to hell, which was never come up before, and we don't know why, and it's not made clear. It seems like they're adversarials and they're going to have some kind of standoff, but they also seem to kind of be hitting on each other. And then she sort of gets turned into a Cenobite, but like we're not sure why. So that's weird. We don't know why Pinhead's here at all. Also does not really make sense. Maybe because the box is open, but the box doesn't. It kind of opens, but doesn't open. It's extremely confusing. And the most irritating thing to me is that Angelique is like, yo, remember our love for each other? And I was like, no one remembers this. You literally met him, said one kind of sexy thing to him, then murdered him a minute later. There was no prolonged like love affair that you two held. He didn't even respond to you before he was murdered. Like he was literally like, I love my wife. And he didn't even look at you in a like, man, I love this lady way. But somehow the connection is strong enough that the minute he sees her, he's going to leave his wife and child behind so he can bang this demon lady who, by the way, has broken out of Adam Scott's control because he messed up and he tried to stand between her and hell. So she's a free agent. She wanted to go to Europe. He said no. And therefore, anyway, does not matter. Yeah. Shit gets weird, but the effects get really good through this whole segment. Everything gets crazy. He dies. Hell happens, I guess. Thing opens up, box, building, don't know. Really confusing. Now we're back in space. It's fine. That part of the story is over. We do get to see a merchant beheaded by Pinhead through this like really cool, like weird chain thing that looks great. Does not matter. His bloodline continues through the ugly kid. At this point, I realized that the shaved head monk guy is Merchant again, same actor. So really budget-saving tactic here and really clever use of the multi-part. I thought it worked very nicely, very Tales from the Crypt. So what is happening now? Of course, this guy's also had dreams and wants to raise the box and do something with it and knows about Pinhead and knows about Angelique and has been haunted by all of this stuff. So he has found a way to raise them and trap them, and then he is going to destroy them. But instead of being able to pull it off, the military has come in, held him hostage, and now he's told the story. Now the military is getting picked off one by one because, of course, somebody untrapped them, opened the door, was tricked into it because he heard a child or a woman screaming behind the door, help me, opened it up and was immediately killed. And so now you have Cenobites running around. And these are pretty cool looking Cenobites. I will say you've got the chatter dog, which is really fun. It's a dog that just chatters. It's really neat. Angelique is now a Cenobite, and she kept being called Princess, which also came out of nowhere. So she's apparently the Princess of Hell. Don't ask. So she's kind of got this really interesting like crown-like thing where her the skin from her skull is pulled away and pulled down to look like a crown. You've got, of course, lead Cenobite Pinhead. And then you also have these guys that were the 90s security guards, which are some twins that they look really cool. Their heads are melded together. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is it coming back to you?
Yeah. Eric, remember when she said she was going to gloss over this?
Yeah, man, that's a pretty in-depth description.
I know.
I know this whole movie, unfortunately.
Anyway. So, okay. So anyway, dudes fight, and then Pinhead is like, haha, I've got you. You thought you were going to get me, but I got you. And then dude's like, haha, no, I'm a hologram. I'm on a ship. I'm going away. The ship that he built turns into a giant box. It like folds into itself. And for the first time, it works in its original function. It creates an everlasting thing of light.
Cop stopper.
And then blows up. And now they're all dead. And by the way, it blows up, and within half a second, credits roll. It's like they waste no time. I was like, whoa, not even beat, not even a fade, nothing. We're just like in credits. I was like, we're out of this fucking movie.
Man.
I'll go complete Hellraiser dork for one thing, for a moment here. Well, I love Hellraiser. One of my favorite horror films. Second one's pretty damn good too. The biggest problem they have with every Hellraiser movie after that is they completely forget the legend of the damn box, which is plainly stated, I believe, in the second one, where it's hands don't call us.
Right.
It's desire.
Right.
And where they pass over killing the girl who actually opened the box because she didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah.
And go after the people who actually want it. They just pretty much, Benny Hadseri's going to kill whoever happens to be in the room from the... They are good sequels for years and years, and I've seen every goddamn one of them because I'm an idiot.
Because they keep having trailers that look like they cared, but then you find out they were just trying to keep the rights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Yes.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating, and often I feel like they're trying to say really fun, beautiful dialogue that then means nothing.
No.
Like they're like, yeah, that was a great line. Put it in. Doug Bradley will deliver it amazingly.
It'll
And he
sound
does.
cool.
And it does. It sounds great. And then they don't care. So let's talk about how we got here. And it's pretty fascinating. Allan Smithee became such because we had Clive Barker as the executive producer, and he wanted a fresh turn for the series. He liked the idea of looking into the architecture of the box, and he suggested a 3-part series to Atkins, the writer. He actually came up with the whole Le Marchand storyline, and he wanted to kind of go back to the novella that he wrote and described how he wanted it to go. The screenplay had a lot more special effects, had a big violent confrontation between Pinhead and Angelique, and it got greenlit. But the cost immediately started getting scaled back again and again and again. So initially they were like, you know who can do things for cheap? Stuart Gordon can do things for cheap.
Oh my God. Stuart
Gordon was on board to direct, but then had artistic disagreements and backed out. So they decided to go with the special effects technician, Kevin Yeager, who was hired after his cost-saving directing work for Tales from the Script with also with Joel Silver, who he'd worked with. He was hesitant because he didn't want to retread previous installments, but impressed by the script and the enthusiasm from Barker. So he decided to jump on board. Bradley also came on board, and then they got some cheapo, lesser known actors. Script was then continued to be scaled back for many reasons. They were also concerned that Yeager might try to just do the effects himself, but he actually went ahead and hired an effects guy who was Gary J. Tunnicliffe, who'd worked on Hellraiser 3 and ended up being a really good collaborator. Yeager only went on to contribute to the Chatterbeast. As for Angelique, Tunnicliffe was inspired by Morticia Addams and Sister Act with the nun's habit and used it to get the flayed skin. So...
just picturing Sister Act in the Hellraiser world. Like, what?
I know. I read that and I had a moment of like, wait a minute, what? Of course, it started off with troubled production. It was filmed in the Magnin building, which was rumored to be haunted, and in an abandoned factory, which they used as the space station. Problems began early on and throughout the whole production. Bradley called it the shoot from hell. Gary Lively, the DP, was replaced the original cinematographer, and the AD was called away in an emergency. Several people suffered from illnesses, and Bradley said the entire art department and camera crew were all dismissed within the first week.
Whoa.
Despite this, the film was completed on time and within budget. So that was good. The initial cut was about 110 minutes long. But Miramax wasn't happy. They demanded that Pinhead receive a more prominent role and appear earlier. Atkins said that they actually knew this about the script, but then thinks that when they saw it, they kind of panicked and demanded rewrites. They just wanted Pinhead a lot more, I guess. So they rewrote this whole opening where they had the 22nd century Paul Merchant begin, and then they have the narrator through the ancestry. Yeager, who just came off of this really difficult shoot, was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't think I need to direct these additional scenes. So he left production. Just saying that he just lacked energy and time. He wasn't actually opposed to the changes, but also didn't want to see the film morph into a different product after having spent so much time on it. So they brought in Joe Chappelle. Atkins wrote 3 new scenes, and after he became unavailable, they brought in Rand Ravitch to continue the writing, who had done Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. So don't know how much he stayed to the story they already had. New footage was shot. Bradley said it was entirely new material and it was not reshoots, which was, I think, a surprise. The origin story between Angelique, as well as the relationship she has to Pinhead and Le Marchant, both changed. It went from adversarial to sexual. Many scenes were removed during editing, especially the Le Marchant storyline, which is too bad because it's actually kind of fascinating. Final film was 85 minutes long, right? With 3 new scenes. So down from 110, which means there's probably about 40 minutes of content from the original that is somewhere missing somewhere else. Allan Smithee saw the final piece and he talked to the DGA or sorry, not Allan Smithee. Jeez, I'm already in it. Jeez,
the director
Yeager saw it and was like, I'm out. I'm going to go ahead and take this credit. And of course, Atkins also left Hellraiser, saying he was essentially done with this. So that is the history behind Hellraiser 4.
Yeah, I feel like there's some neat stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
And surrounded by a lot of shit. Adam Scott is horribly cast in this. He is a good actor with a very modern day look. Yeah. And so when you throw a powdered wig on him, he looks like he's in an SNL skit or something. It's just like, this is not working.
It's hard because he acts. He acts in this. But you're right. He just does not look right. He does not seem right. You can't make him into a sexy, evil guy.
Yeah.
Who's manipulative. It just doesn't fly.
I don't even mind them changing the origins of the box and stuff like that, but they completely changed by this movie. They've turned the Cenobites into judges, and they judge good versus evil and stuff like that. And you're like, that's not what they were supposed to be. They were supposed to be, leather clad hotties from hell who gave out equal doses of pleasure and pain.
Yeah.
Instead of in the art of pleasure and pain.
Yeah. Instead of judging you for your wrongdoings.
There's some weird ego shit going on this film. Granted, it's a Hollywood film with ego problems, but you got Clive Barker handing you a story and you go, let's not do this really. Let's do this instead. It's like,
what does he know about Hellraiser?
That's right. And writing and stories and all that shit. It's just, wow.
Yeah, it's weird. I was shocked to see how much he was involved and from early on. And I actually think, Yeager probably did a pretty good job considering he's obviously a budget decision.
Sure.
But yeah, once you get Miramax basically going, you know what? Sorry, we just really want to show Pinhead a lot more. Yeah. And having been delivered this sort of 3-part series, it just sucks.
Oh, wow.
Also, that was the final Hellraiser film that actually started out as a Hellraiser script.
Right. Yep.
Every other sequel has been something that they've then,
turned
forced Pinhead into the story somehow.
Yep.
Ugh, it sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks.
Let the rights go. All righty. Well.
As a afterthought on that, they did let the rights go. Clive Barker has the rights back, and he is creating the Hellraiser TV series.
Oh
right
my
now.
God, really?
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Don't play with my heart. It's happened before.
Well, budget constraints weren't entirely the problem of the one I'm going to talk about. 2000's Supernova.
Welcome to the world of medical rescue vessel Nightingale 9.
You want to tell me what you're doing out here?
I like deep space. It's quiet.
Prepare for rescue operation via dimension jump.
Research says D-jump is great for your sexual stamina.
Hallelujah. You can play with me whenever you want.
I'm not saying anything's gonna happen between us, but if it does, I want you to understand that whatever happens on this ship stays on this ship.
Hi ho, Silver.
It was their time and their space until they answered a distress signal that would change everything.
What do we got? SOS critical.
Because the survivor they brought aboard,
You know,
Worst nightmare I ever met.
this is your worst nightmare.
was carrying deadly cargo.
It's not man-made. It's buried in the middle of an ice moon.
It's the most amazing thing any of us is ever gonna see.
Lucky for us, huh?
Or maybe something so dangerous that the only way somebody could find to get rid of it was by burying it.
And he's about to turn the heavens
This thing is changing you.
In the most amazing ways.
into hell.
I really wish you hadn't done that. I wish you hadn't done that either.
I've gotten out of worse situations. We'll get out of this one.
When you said you've been in worse situations than this, when was that?
10 minutes ago when the ship was falling and the engines cut out.
If you can't stand the heat, get out of the universe.
I'm coming for you.
Here's a little something from me to you.
Supernova.
Yeah.
Directed by Thomas Lee. Who's Thomas Lee, you might ask?
Yeah, that's not Allan
Yes.
Smithee, Eric.
It is now. After the release of a film called Allan Smithee Burn Hollywood Burn, the Directors Guild decided that the Allan Smithee name was now way too well known because they thought they were actually fooling people and
Sure.
with the Allan Smithee name. And so they created a new name, Thomas Lee. Which
Well,
is
I
the
call
name used since
bullshit
then.
on this, except that this movie is so bad and has such an interesting backstory that I do want to talk about.
It's a weird, convoluted backstory, too, depending on where you decide to look shit up, but I'll get to that. This is actually directed by, of all freaking people, Strange Eons radio favorite, Walter Hill.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think he directed very little of this at all. But you might know him from the remake of Bullet in the Head, Deadwood, or Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
This was written by a few people. William Malone, whose pedigree includes Soldier the Return and Creature 1985.
Pretty flat.
How about Daniel Chuba, who wrote The Boxcar Children, Big Fish, and Begonia?
Okay.
So, no, all right.
I've seen two of those.
Here's one I knew. I didn't know his name, but I know the movie. David C. Wilson, who wrote The Perfect Weapon, starring martial arts movie extravaganza Jeff Speakman.
Yes, I do remember this movie.
I did kind of like this one when I was taking the martial arts and watching that one. Speakman was kind of a cool person. This stars nobody you've ever heard of. No, wait. Scratch that. Reverse it. The lead in this is James Spader, who you might know from Endless Love or Tough Turf or Greasy Lake.
Oh my God. Oh, what a title.
Peter Facinelli? I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no shit. But you might know him from, he's currently in Supergirl. So a series regular on Supergirl. He was in Glee, The Twilight Saga. I know all our listeners are going, oh, I know that. And what I thought was a very underrated TV show called Fastlane. And Robin Tooney, Kraft, Empire Records, Angela Bassett, Robert Forrester, Lou Diamond Phillips, and Wilson Cruz.
Wow.
So
what a weird cast.
And but a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie starts off with the computer waking somebody up with, I was running a test to perform an unscheduled test. And right from the start, I'm going, well, this is not going to be good. What are you talking about? I wrote down, 45 seconds in, I can't believe this is a Walter Hill movie. The opening guy, although for the rest of the movie, I forgot which actor it was, I think it was Wilson Cruz, is good. But in this opening scene, he's awful. It's just like, what is going on? Spader plays a felon with a drug issue, and Angela doesn't trust him. Okay, sure. Going deep and hard storylines here. And here's where it starts to fall apart. They receive a distress call, which they are supposed to do something about, even though they haven't done it in a long, long time, and nobody's sure how they're supposed to do it, but it's the job they're supposed to do.
Well, and back up a little bit.
What?
This is all taking place on a spaceship.
Sorry, yes.
Okay. I was like, wait, in somebody's bedroom? Or
we have gone from the streets to in orbit to way out in space.
Okay.
But so apparently they're like a rescue ship or something. They do not explain remotely at any point in this movie what this space crew is supposed to do.
Huh.
But they talk like they're supposed to be a rescue ship, but they don't rescue anybody, so they feel like they don't know what they're doing. It's like, okay.
Huh.
They do a weird jump thing then for their time travel. They don't do warp. They don't do that. They do kind of, the closest thing I compare it to is like folding space.
Right.
But when they do it, you see all these weird flashes of maybe future events, past events, thing that's going on, stuff that has nothing to do with anything else that happens for the rest of the movie. Seagull knows.
Wow.
Seagull's like, yo, I've seen this movie and it was rough.
And so Robert Forrester, though, doesn't make it through the leap. Apparently, you have to be completely naked to do this jump. And if things get in the thing, sort of like The Fly, if something gets in the container, shit goes really, really wrong. This is a PG-13 movie with two sex scenes and a lot of nudity and butts within like the first 15 minutes. So, what is this? This is a special cut. So they show up afterwards with the wonderfully titled, their computer is named Sweetie. Which is, weird, a female voice computer called Sweetie, which is rough enough until they later on in the movie when they get the really dramatic stuff and they're going, Sweetie!
Oh, no. That's so bad.
James Spader appears to go back and forth from giving it his all to being really good to being just melodramatic. I'm bored out of my goddamn mind.
Yeah.
I still don't know what they're trying to do, but they appear in space and, there's a shuttle in trouble. Let's bring the shuttle on board. And, there's something on the shuttle. And there's also, what's his name? Tom. How do you say his last name? Peter, I mean.
I don't know.
Anyways, the guy from Twilight. You all know who it is. I should get hate mail for that. But... And boy, for a $90 million budget, it's got some rough effects, but we'll get back to that later on. So they bring him on board, and I'm just skipping through notes. Like, I don't care about that. They've got this ongoing theme of sex and having children. It's sort of like, is sex outlawed to have children in the future, but you can get a license to get it? I think so, but I'm not sure.
What a weird thing to throw into this movie.
Oh, yeah. It's very weird. Like Louis Diamond Phillips and the lady he's with are talking about, well, maybe we can have a kid. And of course, the new hot guy shows up from the space shuttle, and that goes out the window.
Maybe we can have a kid.
Oh, Robin Tooney. Yeah, Robin Tooney and Lou Diamond Phillips were enjoying each other. And then she goes to check on him medically, and he walks out completely naked. And it's like a 5-minute shot, full body from behind of the guy as Robin Tooney's standing there looking uncomfortable, trying to figure out what to say.
Oh, my God.
And what if they brought on board with them a 9th dimensional object that they somehow can see and interact with?
Okay.
We can't really explain what a 4th dimension is going to be. You're going to have like 5 more dimensions on top of 3rd dimensions.
In their defense, Buckaroo Banzai had already done the 8th dimension, so this is one more.
They're really going one more.
That's right. Good point. That's right. So It's sort of maybe supposed to be a bomb that we replenish the elements essential to life. So it's like Genesis from Star Trek II, but more Genesis-y. That's sort of the explanation you get. But at the same time, it appears to be kind of a sex toy that Lou Diamond becomes very infatuated with. He is jacked in this movie too, man.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, dude. So it's really hard to take this movie remotely seriously, especially when they start getting into trouble and everybody starts going, sweetie, sweetie. So it's like,
Jesus.
I figured out it's got the wonderful, what are you doing with a gun in space kind of moments for no real reason. Then Benjamin, I think that's Cruz, has a conversation, sort of an esoteric conversation with Sweetie about playing chess and shit, which just falls flat. And they sort of get an Aliens ending, and oh, no, that's not it. There's still 20 minutes left in this damn movie.
God.
And I'm done. So, notes and trivia.
Wow.
I did watch the whole thing, but I don't feel the need to discuss it.
Wow.
The movie really is, one way to look at this is if Event Horizon sucked, you probably might get Supernova. It's very Event Horizon-y with no work done whatsoever to even try to figure out what's going on. I did figure out a way part of the way through to enjoy it a little bit more. Pretend it's Roger Corman, Al Adamson style movie. Helps a little bit. It's like, okay, yeah, all right. These guys didn't have any money and they shot in only 10 days. Yeah, that makes it better. Instead, they had $90 million and unlimited funds. But
God.
Anyway, so Walter Hill said he had a version of it that was much darker, and the Seagull wants me to show you that one, but I can't. He wanted a very different one. He didn't like what the studio did at all, although he did say he thought James Spader did a great job anyways. So it's like, oh, well, that's nice of him to say. Of course, Walter wanted to amp up the sex and the violence in it and make it a little more graphic. Walter Hill thought that problems began in the rewriting process of the script. He took the script and started to do rewritings, not realizing that the president of United Artists really liked the original script. So he had battles on that, trying to make the changes, which most of them were not necessarily allowed to do. And then part of the way through the production, the budget was cut almost in half. So it's like, all right. Walter Hill walked out of film production midway and refused to be involved with any of the reshoots. Okay, now listen to this, and then if this gets a little weird. Francis Ford Coppola stepped in to direct some reshoots before he also walked out.
Whoa.
And Jake Shoulder came aboard to finish directing the reshoots and oversee the edit. The latter two remained uncredited as directors. Or Jack Shoulder was hired for substantial uncredited reshoots, and Francis Ford Coppola was brought in for editing purposes.
Whoa.
Depending on where you look online, both are mentioned as being what actually happened.
Oh my God.
So I'm inclined to believe that Coppola was the one brought in for post-editing. Because it's hard to imagine, because Jack Shoulders, I'm sure he's a fine director, but Walter Hill and Francis Ford Coppola, if they both shot stuff, I feel like it'd be a little more comprehensive, but who knows. Here's another one. The film was originally pitched by William Malone in 1990 as Dead Star. Malone envisioned it as a moderately budgeted film, which would cost around $5 to $6 million and be sort of like Dead Calm in space. Or,
oh God,
originally developed in 1988 by director William Malone, who did House on Haunted Hill, as Dead Star, with paintings by H.R. Giger and a plot that had been called Hellraiser in Outer Space.
Right.
So,
oh my God.
Although Dead Calm in Space sounds kind of cool. I think that would be the way the film ends up in the end. I see that far more likely than the Hellraiser version. Anyways, so
wow.
After principal photography finished in July 1988, Walter Hill spent 24 weeks editing his director's cut of the film. Did not have any special effects added into it, and did not have the film necessarily have all the sound finished. MGM decided that's time to put it in front of a test audience.
Oh God.
And Hill's like, don't do that. It's going to flop horribly. Nobody's going to like it, and we'll be screwed. And they went ahead and did it. And guess what happened? It flopped horribly. Nobody liked it. And they decided they needed to do another $1.5 million worth of, or Walter Hill wanted to do another $1.4 million worth of reshoots, but he would not do the reshoots until he met with producers, and producers would not meet with Hill until director returned to work. So,
oh, God, what a weird standoff.
So dumb egos go dumb. There's the bad guy they picked up off of the space station was supposed to turn into, off the planet, was supposed to turn into this weird mutated creature. But MGM he's a very pretty man, and MGM was upset that they disguised his face completely. So they got rid of that idea, and then just shot with these. He kind of looks like he should be in a Geico commercial for Caveman.
Oh.
That's about all they did to his effects. They just elongated his cheeks a little bit. He just looks dumb. So it's like,
weird.
So you potentially had H.R. Giger involved at one point, and he decided to go with this. All right.
Wow.
Walter Hill knows a little bit about that alien Giger stuff, too. And then in August of 1998, this is the one that sounds, where I think Coppola was brought in by MGM to oversee a re-editing of the film at his American Zoetrope in California. So I think it's more likely that the other guy was brought in as a director and Coppola was brought in to do the post. James Spader has disowned the film and respects his regrets, citing this is the one film he ever worked on that everyone should avoid watching.
Oh, wow.
James Spader's made a lot of movies. They are not all good.
Yeah.
So that's quite a statement.
I remember listening to an interview with Walter Hill, and he was talking about this script had been around Hollywood for so long and had been almost made that that Event Horizon was basically the original script for Supernova. And Event Horizon came out finally before Supernova did, because the script had been floating around so much, people were just cribbing ideas from it.
Oh.
And then they finally got the money to make theirs, and they just changed everything, and because of Event Horizon. So all of the good ideas, the Hellraiser and space stuff, had already been cribbed by other movies, and Walter Hill was left with this kind of shitty thing that he didn't want to make anymore to begin with.
Sort of like a John Carter of Mars problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
So except that John Carter movie is actually halfway decent.
Yeah.
It just feels stale because everybody has taken those ideas for so long.
Exactly. And amazingly, this has been remastered and released in a very nice, from Shout Factory. I was a little surprised. I figured it'd be, one of the other folks down the line. But when you've got the names you can put on the cover of this sucker, you can sell it.
Weird.
So,
Well, what'd you guys think? Allan Smithee, huh? Can't wait for his next movie.
Let's not do this ever again.
The problem here is it's not even, so bad it's good kind of situation.
Right.
Most of these are just
bad.
They're like, this one's full of talent. Supernova is full of talent. So there's good acting. There's some good effects.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. And I would say the same for like Hellraiser. Like it has amazing effects. I think it's a really good looking film.
Yeah.
It's just that you can see where they've cut budget because the story doesn't make sense and some of the actors are weak. But
and I love the idea of Pinhead walking around a spaceship.
Oh my God.
I think that's,
with people
you're
like trapped on there.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea. I mean, it's almost scarier than Aliens because he's going to suck you into hell and put chains on you when you don't even know it.
Right. How are you supposed to fight him? With bigger guns? It doesn't, it doesn't get any scarier than that. And yet.
Not scary at all.
They blew it.
Might as well be capturing Jason in the beginning. What was it? Jason 10, I think, or Jason X. Yeah, where are they?
I thought that movie was hilarious.
I fucking love that movie.
But it has the beginning where they're set him up and suddenly, bam, all the military's there and all the lights are on.
That is so, yeah. It does feel like that. There is one really good jump scare, though, on the space station where a guy thinks he's outwitted Pinhead and he turns around and there's the chatter dog, like literally looking at him. And I did have a nice little jump and a little scream and then thought about it and was like, why would the chatter dog just be sat there staring at you inches away and you don't know? He's just been like looking at you the whole time going,
What is that noise? God damn it.
What is this? I have to be so silent. Anyway.
Well, this is a topic I don't think we need to worry about a part 2 of
Probably
ever again.
not,
Yeah,
So,
let's just
One and
not.
done.
I mean, I know of one other movie I could have looked at, and I think you both might have also. So
which one was that?
Birds 2.
Oh, Land's
geez.
End.
Wow.
Yep.
Well,
That's the only other one I've thought about.
I was looking at a movie called Let's Get Harry from the 80s with Gary Busey, and I remember liking that movie in the 80s, and then I couldn't find it for free anywhere, so I decided not to.
Yeah, that was on my list too as a possible to do.
So, all right. Well, Eric, I believe it's your
Yes.
choice.
So we're going to go wonderfully generic, well, not generic, very specific, but a wide-ranging choice of styles of film to pick from. We'll do another actor-based one, Kurt Russell films.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's avoid like The Thing, which we've talked about ad nauseum and want to talk about even more ad nauseum at some point.
Right, right. Well, dibs on Captain Ron, you guys.
Okay.
I won't fight you on it.
Yeah.
Is that Allan Smithee?
I like Captain Ron.
I actually haven't seen it.
I like
can't.
Kurt Russell and Captain Ron.
Come on, Martin Short. It's a funny movie.
Yeah.
Fuck all of you guys. You snooty bastards.
Wait a minute.
You just talked about Hellraiser 4. You're going to badmouth Captain Ron?
I'm not. I haven't seen it.
How about
All right.
Overboard?
I have seen Overboard. One of my mom's favorite movies.
I like this idea a lot. So that is the show. Many, many thanks to everyone who's participating in the Value for Value model and who's liking and sharing posts and who's interacting with us on the Facebook page. I know I don't get out to the Facebook page very often, but when you see that your post has either been liked by Strange Eons Radio instead of Eric, that's generally me because I can't figure out how to not be Strange Eons Radio.
Yeah, they're a little
Don't
weird.
like it.
Depends on where you approach from or something. I don't know.
So that's it. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
thanks to you
thank
guys
you.
for driving all the way up here. And thanks to everybody listening. And we'll see you in 1 week. We're talking Kurt Russell. Our show is recorded somewhere high above Naval Station Everett at the nexus of all realities and is engineered and produced by Eric Morgret. Our theme music is Strange Eons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find Strange Eons Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever fine